Welcome to Collecting Chaos. My name is James, and today I got something a little different for you. Well, it's not that much different. It still involves comic books. Now, recently, I picked up a copy of Detective Comics 441. I think it was sent to me by Michael Mayrin, but I'm not going to swear to that. He sends me comics from time to time, and I send him comics from time to time. But it had some severe problems. It had about a 4-inch spine split on the front and a big, nasty tear. And I mean, yeah, the comic's only worth $1, maybe $2 or $3 because it's fair to good, maybe. But I decided it deserved a little bit of love. So follow along with me as I take steps to make it a little better. So I recently picked up this copy of Detective Comics, number 441. It's one of the 100-page spectaculars from DC that they published in the 70s. I think I got this from Michael Mayrin, but I don't remember for sure because, to be honest with you, I get so much stuff that I mix and I end up mixing it all together, and I don't know who sent it to me. But I think it might have come from Michael. And in this condition, it's maybe a $2 to $5 comic at best, and that's provided somebody desperately wants it. But it has some problems, as you may yeah, got a little tear. And the back cover isn't too bad. It's got a small tear here, and of course the spine is, yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cover from this comic, which is not an easy task, as it is one of the square bound ones, and then I will press the interior, and I will use some Tingujo paper to fix the tear and the spine, reinforce the spine, and then I'll reattach it to the comic after that. So that's what I plan on doing, but I wanted to show this as an example of what it looks like before I started. And of course I'll show you what it looks like once I'm finished. Now, to remove this comic from the spine, I'm going to have to get this damp. I'm going to have to get it wet. So let me go get some water, some distilled water, and I'll start doing that right now. And I'm back, and I've got what I need. I got a pretty thick paintbrush. It's actually been used quite a bit, and it's not in the best shape, but it'll do for what I need. And this is distilled water. And I'm going to dip the brush in that, and all I'm going to do is start brushing the spine. I want to get it nice and wet and have it soak through. This paper towel is here just to get any excess. The idea is once it gets in there enough and soaks in enough, it will start to allow the glue to come loose. When the glue comes loose, I can remove the cover. This is a tedious process. It takes time. The last one I did was the Marvel movie classics, Frankenstein, which I gifted to Roy over on Horizon Picks channel. It's a comic that he wanted, and I didn't want to sell it to him, so I gave it to him. But once I was finished doing the conservation work on that comic, I kind of didn't want to get rid of it. I kind of wanted to keep it. But I'd made up my mind before that. Yeah, I'm going to have to keep going through this. It's going to be a while. But this is all there is to it. I just keep wetting it down until it starts to loosen that glue up. And I'll show it to you once it's loose enough for me to start taking it off. I'll restart the camera. In the meantime, I'm going to take a break from that. I think it's starting to loosen up enough. I've got one of my sticker removal tools, and I'm just going to use that to try to get it down off of the cover or separate it from the comic very gently. I do not want to rip or tear it any more than it already is, but it is definitely starting to loosen up. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm worried about getting the top when it's already separated, because I want the cover to be in one piece if possible. Of course, we all know wet paper is weak paper, so I have to be extra gentle with this, but it is coming loose. I do have a few tears that I'm seeing, so we're going to put a little more water on. See, there's a tear there, but I believe that was coming through anyway. I'm going to loosen it up a little more. This is agonizingly slow, but that's the way it goes. You have to be prepared to go slow when you're doing stuff like this. Alright, we're going to go ahead and stop this for a little while. But that's basically all I'm doing, and my mouse stopped working. I have to run a program on here for the corrupt files, like I did with my other one. So I'll reach up and turn the camera off. Alright, I successfully removed the cover from the comic. I have a lot of glue still on here that needs to get scraped off. I may use some light sandpaper. One of the problems was the glue was actually on that first page. So, like I said, I'll get the rest of that glue off later. This I'm going to let dry, and then I can see exactly what I need to put it back together. I have some loose pieces here that I took off the spine. There's one right here. It comes down a little more. But I don't want to do anything else with it right now until it dries. So I will be back with this video when I'm ready to start putting that, putting some tingujo on it and getting it the way I need it to be. So I got the page all dried out and flattened, and I've got the little pieces up here that I need to fill these spots with. And I think what I'm going to do first is put this together with Bingojo paper or Tengujo paper, Japanese rice paper. And I'll put this together first, this tear here. And for that I need a piece. Get this piece of scrap out here. And I need to make sure it's about right. So we'll tear it. And I tear this because that'll give more fibers to grip onto the paper. So let's see if this piece is big enough, and that's just about what I want. So next thing I'm going to do, I went ahead and already mixed some up, some methylcellulose glue, and I like working with paper when it's wet, but with this number of tears I think it's better if I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it on, and I use distilled water to do the mix. And people will argue with me over this is not the right way to do it. That's okay. I don't mind if you argue with me about stuff like that. Put that on. Then take my little piece of rice paper. Get it right the way I want it. And then put that on over it. And then I'm going to take some more methylcellulose paste. I have this at a gel-like consistency, so it's not what I usually, the way I usually work it. Usually I have it a little more watery. But then again, most of the time I go ahead and use rice paste. But for this, I decided to go with methylcellulose paste. Partially because it dries quicker. Now I can still see that crease, which is bad, but it's just the way it's going to be, I think. Alright, that's that part. Then we have some other smaller pieces I'm going to put in. Now I toyed with the idea of doing this after. In other words, reinforcing the spine first and then adding these pieces. But I decided that's not the way I wanted to do it. This piece goes right here. And then these pieces are much smaller. And I probably should use tweezers to do this, but I don't have them handy. This piece goes here, and there's rice paper in the way. That's alright. And then finally, this piece goes like this. Alright, now I need another piece of rice paper that'll fit the whole thing, and that's about right. I want it approximately an inch wide, so I'm going to start tearing and try to make sure it stays 3/4 to an inch all the way down. The advantages of working with it when the paper's wet is you can just set these right down on there, and it works fine. And I might go ahead and wet that before I put this on, since I will be going all the way down with it. Not exactly perfect, but it's tears, so you know, you don't get perfect tears. If you get perfect tears, it's called a cut. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to lay that right across there, but I'm going to go ahead and wet that first. And for that, I'm going to use the same brush I used yesterday. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it did, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And then we'll take that piece that I tore, if I can find it right there. I'll just lay that right down over it, like that. And then we'll take our methyl cellulose paste that I made and start brushing from the bottom. Now this might leave a stain on a water stain on the comic. I'm not worried about that. I'll take a water stain over those big tears any day. Now I mix, when I mix the methyl cellulose, I only mix what I need. I don't have a big jar of it sitting around like I do rice paste, because I don't use it that often. I used to, but I don't anymore. So there you go. I've got it glued down. It's on some absorbent paper there. I'm just going to let it dry. I'm not going to press it yet. Like I said, we're just going to let it dry. I do want to get it off of that a little bit. There we go. We're just going to let that dry, and I'll come back to it and update you. And I'm back. I went ahead, it's dry. I pressed it to get it nice and flat so that I can go ahead and attach it to the comic. I'm going to leave these tails on for right now. I'll take them off eventually, but for right now I'm going to leave them there. I want to see how this is going to go. I scraped and then I did a light sanding with 3000 grit sandpaper on here to get the old glue off. And it's going to go just like this and up. And I need to make a nice little fold there. And then over. And it's going to sit about the same way it did before. So it's time to go ahead and glue it on. Now I'm going to use rice paste for this rather than the methyl cellulose paste, because rice paste is stronger. And that's the whole reason I'll use it. Plus I got a lot of it. I have a whole... It says Tostitos creamy spinach dip, but actually it's rice paste. And it works really well. And then what I'll do is I'll paint the edge here with the paste, and that's all there is to it. I want to try to keep it off of the actual page of the comic and just paste the edge. This is the same way that I repair paperback books when I do repair paperback books, which isn't as often as it used to be. And that's all I need to do, just a little bit of rice paste on there. Now I'm going to put it so that the front is even, and then we'll fold the back up. That looks about right. And then I'll fold up the back. And I need a little bit of weight on it, which I have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over, and set that on top of it so that it'll hold still, and wait for the glue to set. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. That's about it. So that's going to be it for right now. We'll come back as soon as it's dry. All right, let's take this off. It's been maybe 30 minutes. That should be plenty of time for this. And we'll take it off and take a look and see how it looks. I can tell right now it didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it. The back is really off, but that's okay. Let's see how the glue held. And it held, but it didn't hold all the way. I'm going to have to put some more on it. So I'll do that, and this time we'll go from the back to the front. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take this loose. The glue did not, it held in the top only. So we're going to go ahead and try it again, and you know the procedure that I'm going to use. The next time you see this will be after I have pressed it. So that'll be the final reveal of it, and but it's just a matter of putting more glue on there and letting it sit longer, and maybe I'll put a little glue down here also. I don't know yet. So like I said, the final reveal will be the final reveal. There you go, Detective Comics 441 and what I did to it. Now, it just came out of the press a little while ago, and I still have to cold press it for a while, but here it is. And yeah, you can still see the tear, but it is solid. It's a solid comic with no problems. Cover's holding onto it nice and tightly, and it's in pretty nice shape now. I'm happy with it. It's going to go in my collection. I didn't have a copy of this, so that's one of the reasons, and I like my comics to look halfway decent. I would give this probably a conserved 1.8, maybe a 2.5 at the most, but right in that range is where I would put it right now. Whereas before, I would consider maybe a 1 or a 1.5. So a little better, of course, before it was unconserved. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit. and you never know what I'm going to do next. So we'll see you next video. Bye.